Marfoogle TV going live in 3, 2, 1.
Down the hole, we must go. Follow us down the rabbit hole. Welcome you to the Marfoogle Show. Get right, let us know.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. After Trump comments, Kremlin reaffirms stance against European peacekeepers in Ukraine. So if you have been not following this week, there's been a lot going on. Of course, Europe is full on talking about sending in possibly 30,000 troops to Ukraine. That is NATO and Europe talking about sending actual troops into the war with Russia. It is a giant deal. At the same time, the majority of what's being covered right now is the peace deal that Trump says is essentially going to happen, because if not, if we pull our support, that Ukraine is going to be stuck without a paddle. But that, again, is something that European leaders are saying, well, that's not exactly how it's going to go, because we're going to step up then, right? Which, again, has been asked for a long time. In fact, the current president, Trump, has actually asked, hey, everybody should be stepping up as far as their defense budgets, up to 5%. But of course, right now, countries don't even pay the required 2 or 3%. A lot of them are not even going up to that. So, and it's not enforced. At least that's what's being said. And now the Kremlin asked about an assertion by the U.S. president that Russia was open to European peacekeepers being deployed in Ukraine, referred reporters to an earlier statement that such a move would be unacceptable to Moscow. It says Russia has repeatedly said it opposes having NATO troops on the ground in Ukraine, with Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov saying last week that Moscow would view that as a, quote, direct threat to Russia's sovereignty, even if the troops operated under a different flag. Asked about the president's comment, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov refrained from publicly contradicting the U.S. president, but effectively reaffirmed Russia's opposition to the idea. Quote, there is a position on this matter that was expressed by Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. I have nothing to add to this and nothing to comment on. I leave this without comment. It says, and then, of course, President said, he will accept that, Trump said. I specifically asked him that question. He has no problem with it. And again, this was the president talking about if Putin would accept peacekeepers on the ground. So which is it? There's a lot of contradicting. I think there's a lot of 4D chess going on right now. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about how Taiwan just had cables cut. And, of course, this is at the same time that China is doing surprise live-fire drills. It is a very, very tumultuous time, so stick around. This is going to be a good one. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Welcome you to the Marfoogle Show. Get right, let us know. Down the hole, we must go. Follow us down the rabbit hole. Welcome you to the
All right, we're going to be going from NATO over to France. So, again, now France is offering a nuclear shield to Europe. Before we get into this, every single article, tweet, video, picture, document is going to be available over on marfooglenews.com. All you need to do is look for today's thumbnail. China's Navy, urgent broadcast, militaries on high alert, and chatter of invasion. Once you click on that, you'll find a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document. Now back to the story. Again, let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
All right, so let's go over to France. They're saying that they're going to offer their nuclear shield to Europe.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about France, just not just because they've been in the news, but if you recall, even going back a few months ago, and maybe even up to 6 months ago, France had been making a lot of power plays to basically position themselves as the dominant leader in the EU, in the European branch of NATO, if you want to call it that, amongst all of the allies, so to speak, over there. They have always been playing this big game. They were the first to say they were going to put troops in. They were the first to say that they were going to send in more supplies or anything. They've just always had this big position. So now they're coming in and saying, hey, as we think, they're trying to paint this picture that America is abandoning Europe. And France is here to save the day because they're going to use their nukes, and they're willing to take their nukes and maybe even put them into Germany, onto fighter jets. Posting a few French nuclear jets in Germany should not be that difficult and would send a strong message. Some of the things they're saying. So they're talking about how they're going to be the ones that protect Europe, and not the typical nuclear deterrent that was made from the U.S.
And of course, Macron, what people are going to be talking about, and it's kind of crazy if you look at what folks are looking at on X and on TikTok. They're essentially showing hundreds and hundreds of videos of their greetings and how Trump put his hand on his knee and how awkward their handshakes are and things. And these are funny. Don't get me wrong. If you watch those videos, Trump is always somebody who basically pulls you in, and he does a power shake. I of course in anytime I was in sales, I met guys like this where they just cramp down on you, and it was a power move. It's like it's an instantly demasculating thing, or it just boom. It makes you feel like, whoa, this guy's taking control of me essentially. And he's always done that with Macron. And if you go back, every time they've greeted, he basically pulls him in or hugs him or basically controls over him. It is literally a strategy in the business world. It shows I mean business. With this, they're all pointing that out. And it's funny. Some of these times, Macron is even grabbing his hand, pulling it off his knee, but doing it while laughing. And it's you can see there's this kind of power play between the two. But as far as Macron, he's also had all of this weird stuff in the headlines. Candace Owens, of course, made some very, very crazy claims about him, and a lot of people don't think that they're that crazy, right? And some people are thinking they're absurd, but he has stayed out of the limelight, and then now all of a sudden he's back in it. Macron has, again, been this person that is fully trying to be that next, the European U.S. kind of thing. In every way that they've made plays. Like Dex just mentioned, he, of course, was the first to say, well, we might have to be ready. Our media shows this picture, and this is what the people in the U.S. see, but if you're over in Europe, and I would love for you to chime in, if you're in Europe, it shows a whole different picture. Macron is, very much put up on this pedestal and said, this guy is not going to play around. He's not playing games. Here they show him laughing and silly and everything else. But over there, they show him as a very serious person that's going to, clamp down on this and even put his people into this war if they have to protect Europe. So I think it's a differing kind of angle. It's our media is choosing this picture out of the 50,000 pictures to show, and it's across the board on almost every media. We've looked at probably 15 different pieces about Macron today, and all of them show almost a similar kind of thing. They show this lighthearted thing. In fact, the media has a pattern of this last month and a half of showing, even though all of these medias hate him, supposedly, they're showing all of these pictures of all of these lighthearted moments and how he's getting along with everybody. I don't know. Something seems wrong to me. They're showing all of these lighthearted moments, but at the same time, there's something much more nefarious going on behind the scenes. There is a war brewing with or without the U.S., and that should concern everyone. So yeah, they're using their nuclear deterrent. And then Iran can manufacture 6 nuclear weapons with newly enriched uranium. Yeah, the UN Atomic Agency reports. So the UA, whatever it is, that basically said that now they can make all of these nuclear weapons. I have been tired of a lot of the statements that have come out about, Iran and nuclear weapons. They're always saying they're 2 ounces away from making a nuke. They're 5 days away. They're 14 minutes and 35 seconds away from making nuclear weapons. We've been hearing this for years. Again, when is it going to be true, right? Dex, as far as the Iran and the nuclear weapons, it's just like it's kind of like, I don't know, it gets absurd how many times they talk about this, but if this is true at any point, it's a very scary scenario, especially with True Promise 3 on the horizon, their supposed plan to attack Israel. And then, of course, could this be used as, something, if they say this, then tomorrow we're going to see Israel say, yeah, well, we need to attack before they do, and we need to attack their nuclear sites.
Well, exactly. Well, look, I guess the big thing here is this is a much different statement. It used to be they are almost there, or they're months away, and now they're saying they have enough. It's not like so many days away until they can make one. They've already enriched enough, and they have enough now to produce at least 6. That's what they're suggesting. So they did say they significantly increased production and accumulation of high enriched uranium by Iran, the only nuclear weapon state to produce such nuclear material of its serious concern, they noted in the new report that came out. So, I guess this is a big deal as it relates to the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran. And I guess this will also, whether this is true or not, this will probably fuel the decisions that are going to be made by the adversaries of Iran to potentially go take out their nuclear capabilities, which we saw Israel attempt to do or make a dent in on the last attack.
And as far as this goes, this is the timing of this, just a few days after, it was last week when we heard rumors that Israel was planning a massive attack on nuclear sites in Iran. Now you have the IEAA, or I can never remember the stupid thing, them saying that now they have enough to make nukes. Now it's a solid statement. So when you have a statement like that, all of a sudden now you've got backdoor meetings going on, and they say, well, did you hear them? They said that they have enough to make them. That they can now make nukes, and they just talked about True Promise 3. Therefore, then you've got other leaders or smaller countries or leaders that aren't on the being told, hey, if we don't do this right now, then they're going to attack and wipe Israel off the map, which many do believe, including myself. If they had a choice, if they really could, and if there were no consequences, I believe they would wipe each other off the map in both directions, that they would actually wipe them off the map. That is how deep their religious, beef goes. So as far as this goes, are they going to use this new statement? Is this statement true? Is it accurate? If it is, this is most definitely going to be used as a precursor for them to attack Iran. And they're going to be very specific with their attack. I don't think it'll be thousands of missiles. I think they'll go right after their nuclear plants. And that's a big deal. Them and their now new treaty allies, which is Russia and others, you've got yourself a whole different kind of war scale going on. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. I know how stupid most of you must think I am, because there is a big thing in the middle of the screen that says the actual abbreviation. IAEA. It's right there on the picture. But don't worry. I'll get it. Never. Kenny Crowder, good evening, Adam, Dex, Mods, and Foogle fam. Hope all is well. Say hello to... hello, haft to the het, the hey, be safe, I love your way. I don't know if you were speaking German there, but it was pretty close. Had to say hello, haft to hift, the hey, to be safe your way. I'll translate that later. All right. And let's get back to it. Before we move on, make sure to go check out My Medic. Again, this is a cool kit. I will actually show you too at the very end. I actually got mine about a week ago, and I was blown away by it. So I always check out anything. This was actually suggested by Fugel family members in the EMT community. And they said, as far as I made a call out to you guys, and I said, hey, what's a great product that you would like us to have? This was actually suggested by you guys, the Fugel fam. If you haven't checked this out, this is an incredible kit. If you don't have an actual first aid kit, now you may have a Jace case with antibiotics in it, but this is an actual first aid kit that has a ton of great stuff. And I mean, really, it is comprehensive what it actually has in it. It is very easily organized. This is the same kit that a lot of the pros use. It really has just a tremendous amount of really insane stuff, and stuff that really you probably do not have in your medic kit right now. I mean, there are kits for things like if somebody has a punctured lung, or if you end up having to open up somebody's trach and things like this. It is really a comprehensive kit. It has tourniquets, professional grade tourniquets in it. It has not only medications in packages. I mean, it has everything you would think a normal kit would have, plus so much more. It has gauze. It has finger braces if you break a finger. It has everything you could think of. So if you want to go check it out, it is an incredible kit. Go over to marfuglennews.com/medic. And again, make sure to use the code MARF. Again, they have different sizes. I would highly recommend checking out all of them. But again, go check them out. marfuglennews.com/medic. If you have a go bag already and you are looking to upgrade your medic bag, then this is the one. Again, go over to marfuglennews.com/medic. The MyFac is, again, one of the most comprehensive and compact kits out there, and it is incredible. So go check it out. Again, it goes and supports an independent media like ourselves, and you are getting yourself prepared. All right, and then Iran on high alert. Let's see here. On high alert. So let's talk about that. Amid fears of an attack on their nuclear sites. So now we have the response. Of course, we talk about how now IAEA is talking about all of this and saying, hey, they've got enough to make nukes. I wonder why they're on high alert, right? Dex, now they're on high alert. I mean, it makes perfect sense that this is going to be the path that's happening right now.
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, and it's the timing is fitting. So we heard a week ago that Israel was still planning at some point to potentially attack because they felt like they had support from Trump if they wanted to do this. Now we've got the IAEA coming out saying, hey, they can have 6 nukes. Well, that's going to raise the alarm bells in the community to say, okay, well, now we have to do something. So they've got their defenses. They literally have put their entire defense systems around all of its nuclear sites on, and all their military are now on high alert. They're expecting an attack from Israel on this, and they're taking measures. Now, we have to also take in account that they have told us, as we mentioned, that they've got that other plan to retaliate. So I imagine they're probably putting defense up first. It's probably taking their highest priority, and then retaliation would come after. But I guess the question is when, and we won't know. It's one of those things that'll happen in probably the middle of the late day, which will be late middle of the night over there. We'll start to hear that something went on, and I don't even know if we'll hear it on Twitter as much as we may hear it from say Israel after the fact, when they come out and say they took some stuff out stealthily. I imagine they will go in with the jets just like they did last time, and strategically take out the facilities.
And it follows warnings from U.S. intelligence that both the last administration and the current warned that Israel would likely target the key Iranian nuclear sites this year. So, as far as this goes, I mean, this is an escalation waiting to happen. It is something that a lot of people are worried about as far as if this does go down, what will then happen after that. Let me, again, I'm going to pull up the chat here in just 2 seconds. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody that has already made it in the door. I appreciate you guys. All right. Trump says Zelensky is coming to the White House to sign the U.S.-Ukraine minerals deal. And did you know that I talked to a lot of people that thought that a lot of the deals that are being talked about thought that, oh, well, that means that the war will be over. Well, that's the Putin negotiation deal, and that would be where they both come to the table and they say, hey, this land is yours, this land is mine. I don't know. My land. But it is not likely that scenario. In fact, the minerals deal, if this is signed, this would help them continue the war. President Donald said Wednesday that Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky will visit the White House on Friday to sign a long-sought minerals deal that will closely tie the two countries together for years to come. Of course, Donald made the announcement at the start of the first cabinet meeting of his second term, hailing the deal as a very big agreement. It says the Republican president has long complained that the United States has spent too much taxpayer dollars to support Ukraine in the conflict with Russia that began with the Kremlin invaded 3 years ago. Trump has framed the emerging deal that would give the U.S. access to Ukraine's deposits of so-called rare earth minerals used in aerospace, defense, and nuclear industry. I mean, the truth has been out there for a while. Lindsey Graham said it straight up. He's like, hey, there's $12 trillion worth of minerals there, including lithium and all sorts of other things. And said, we don't want Russia to get that money. This agreement, which is great for the U.S., it means, hey, there's money coming in. Heck, it would be great if we all got cut a check out of these damn minerals. But at the same time, this is continuing a war, and this would also put us right alongside NATO in an actual war with Russia. I'm not saying that it means that we're sending troops, but it does mean that this continues. Dex, go ahead.
Well, Trump did say that he is not going to make security guarantees. So we're going to get $500 billion, and then we're going to get an ongoing amount of money from our ability to go in and mine and extract the minerals there. So we're basically going to be able to pay America back for all of the billions we already sent over there. That's his intention. But in exchange, we're not sending troops in. We're not necessarily giving any security guarantees. He said, I'm not going to make security guarantees. Now, he did say, though, that in his opinion, if the U.S. has a presence of workers and mineral extraction facilities that are being built there, running and owned by America, then that by itself will be a deterrent from anybody doing anything, because they're not going to want to strike Americans there. He also said, though, that the security presence would have to come from Europe. It's going to have to be funded and paid for by Europe. If there's going to be a security presence, it's not going to be America. So, his intentions are, hey, Zelensky, sign this deal. We want to get paid back for everything that we've done for you, and more. And I'm not going to send over military weapons. I'm not going to give you anything in return for it. You're going to pay us back, and you're going to like the fact that we'll be present in your country. Again, Dex, did we end up getting the story about the president opening up to millionaires to buy a visa? Did we get that in today? Yeah, I don't know if it's in today, but yeah,
that's okay.
It's the golden ticket, so to speak. It's a rebranding of an existing program. The existing program was $1 million.
Yeah, so I want to talk.
The new one is $5 million.
Yeah, so it's a little different. So it was invest in real estate. It was do this. Now he is basically, they're making it so $5 million can buy a seat. He said if what was it, 100 or if 1,000? I think he said if 1,000 people do that, that's $5 trillion or something like that. So all of these things, everybody's looking at them from two different angles. They're saying, hey, you keep talking about the richest of the rich people, right? But which would you rather have? Would you rather have somebody kind of sneaking in the back door, or would you rather have somebody come in the front door and saying, hey, everybody, I'm giving you all gifts, or giving $5 million towards the country, right? I guess the one thing is we've had such a bad economy. I guess people are begging for a good economy again. So, but one thing I think about is all of the things that are getting put in place, and yes, all this money is going to be rolling in again. Did they get us to the point where we were so bad off that now we are going to end up saying, hey, anything, bring it all in? I think overall it would be a good thing because you would have all of these rich companies trying to build it here and bring all of the jobs here. But if you have a downside to it, please let me know. What do you think the downsides to something like that would be? So say a rich conglomerate from India has $5 million and wants to live here. Do you see that as a bad thing? Dex, go ahead.
Well, and it's and the other side, I know it's easy to think, oh, it's just some rich guy that's going to use it to get a golden, passport, so to speak, or a ticket into America, just like they do in America to get into other countries. They have those deals as well. This is not a new thing, not a uncommon thing. But what he's also doing, and the way this is you're going to see this play out, is it's not people, it's companies. You're going to see major, large tech companies, for example. I'll use Apple. I think he even used that as an example because he had talked to Tim Cook recently, will actually spend the $5 million or maybe even $10 million or $20 million to get 4 or 5 of those seats because there's certain people they want to bring in of talent and of great minds that are outside the country. And they will use that as their means to bring those people in. It's not that it's just a rich elite that's going to come in always. It can be corporations that are using it to buy seats for talent that they want to bring in from outside of America.
Somebody said your math is off. No, I'm saying, no, it was times 1,000. It was, I said 100 at first, but then I said 1,000. So 5 million times 1,000, I think is what he said. And it would be, he said in the trillions. So I don't know what it would be. Maybe it was 100,000, but I'm not a human calculator. So what would be times 1,000? 5 million times 1,000. How much would that be? And then other countries do the same. Yeah, Stephen McMahon, totally. And in fact, New Zealand and other places, some places have actually cut off of this program because we're starting to run out of places for their own people. And then Oprah gives cars away, remember? Love always. That made me think about the Hawaii situation where she was asking everybody else to donate. Think about when she was giving cars away. Do you think that was really her money or was that the show's money? And I guarantee you there was something behind that, right? So they gave away, say, 100 cars to all of the audience members, and they were always crappy cars. I don't know if you guys remember that, but they were cheapo cars, and they were an advertisement. They were basically given as an advertisement for that type of car. So it was essentially built into their budget. They gave away 100 cars or something. They're getting this giant advertisement on the biggest daytime television show. It wasn't her. And that's the other thing. It's like everybody knows this in the creator community too. Many of the things that are happening right there, that is usually from the company. The company is helping and putting that out. When it came to Oprah herself, did she donate any of her own money? Absolutely not. I mean, look at what happened when she doesn't have that show, right? She didn't say, oh, I'm giving this much, or the number that they said that they were going to give was just stupid compared to their net worth. And, of course, people argue like, oh, just because they're rich doesn't mean they should give away half their money. No. But to give away like a literal, like, wipe your butt with amount when you supposedly care about the community and things, that's just stupid. That was when The Rock, Johnson, and Oprah said that they were like, oh, everybody, come on, give us your money. We need to support the Hawaiians. It's like, everybody else during that time was barely even afford their rent, and you want them to give. Why didn't you give a good chunk, right? People got really pissed. Everybody. That was like a nonpartisan thing. That was one of the few times that everybody teamed up on Oprah and The Rock. It was kind of a good feeling there. And then Sean C., nice to see you. Joshua Matthew, WIS Jen. Kathy Ina, who is also in Hawaii. How did you feel about Oprah? Dex, go ahead.
It takes 7.2 million golden tickets to pay off our national debt. So they have to bring in 7.2 million people. So it's a lot of people.
Oh,
he said
No. He said 1 million people. That would be 5 trillion or something.
It
wasn't to pay off our debt.
It could add up, but the other number that's been floated around is like if they brought in 7.2 million people, it would pay off the $36 trillion debt. So, and adding 7.2 million people is not a lot when you think about the overall population and you think about the numbers that have come in that weren't necessarily bringing high value into the country. But I just don't know that there's 7.2 million people worth 5 million apiece to come in.
His direct quote in that interview, he said 1 million people. And I remember thinking 1 million people compared to 376 million, you add another million to the country, that's not going to make a drop in the bucket. But the money, each one of them, 1 million people at $5 million, that is $5 trillion. And you do think about our debt, but you also think about how they're cutting it over here. They're cutting it over here. They're cutting it over here. One thing I have noticed, and I just saw this today, there was, those videos where they walk up to the rich guy and they go, how do you afford this is a Bugatti. How did you get this Bugatti? This one guy, this is a fresh video as of a couple days ago. His security steps in and says, oh, get away. And he goes, no. And the guy goes, I'm one of the biggest growing medias. I ask people what they do. And the rich guy, this rich guy, older guy says, no, one second. I think you interviewed one of my friends. And I was just thinking, God, him. And so his rich buddy goes, yeah, this guy interviewed me. It's all over YouTube and everywhere and TikTok. He goes, 1 second. Oh, I'll talk to you. And he basically talks to him and he says, he gives him some basic advice. And this guy's like, how did you get a Bugatti? What did you have to do? The kid, all he does is basically ask, like, how do you afford a car like that? And ask him advice. What advice would you give a 20-year-old? At the end, he goes, well, I am very happy. He goes, do you think our generation works harder or your generation works harder? He goes, well, I would think mine, but after this last Pick the Prez day, I'm very much more hopeful. He goes, I guess we'll see. So you can tell that the upper elite class is happy that Donald is in. The reason I say this is we have highly doubted that these guys were out there. Like, we know there's a lot of conservative rich people, but it was in our mind that these conservative rich people were basically helping the other, this other kind of group of people take away all of our rights, do all of this, when they personally think, oh, I think like this, this, and this. They're personally probably conservative, but they were letting all of this stuff fly. And another reason I say that is because it's like, where are these rich billionaires over these 4 years where all this crap is happening? And I'm wondering, everybody talks about George Soros, but where's the Koch brothers, or where's these guys, or where's those guys? Where's the rich billionaires that are stepping in and trying to stop all of this stuff? It seemed like they were just null and void for a while. Now all of a sudden we're seeing the other side of the coin. And they're coming out in droves. So my big thing is like, is this actually going to, are we going to see a huge shift? And it might be good in so many ways, but in the long run, is anybody worried about where this could actually go if it is all business centric? Does anybody have any of doubts where there could be some short-sightedness of where it could go? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. As somebody who has always been really in the middle of everything, I do have these thoughts, and I think people should ask questions like, where could this actually go if it keeps going down the same path? Dex, go ahead.
Well, a lot of those people, they've been in hiding. They've been in the closet, so to speak. We were in a world at the time that did not allow for progress, even in the business, the investment, and the financial world, if you went against that grain. And it took a point in time where we are now to get to where you could actually come out and say, okay, well, I actually believe in this because the guy made it into the office. And before then, you couldn't do it. If you did,
I don't
you would
know.
get canceled. I know
I
many
think that's
of them
an illusion. I think that's kind of an illusion.
I know many of them that wouldn't say a word and would stay out of it because they didn't want to get canceled. They didn't want to lose deals. They didn't want to not have, the opportunity that, that they had. And now they feel at least that curtain's been lifted and they can,
well,
they can speak
how
up.
many, are you saying billionaires or millionaires? Because there's a big difference.
I'm just saying, more well-off people that would be investing and buying and building companies and things like that. Call them what you want.
Okay, because I don't think the billionaires care about, they would care if they're in the seat right now. If they say something, then their company all of a sudden loses contracts, then all of a sudden that was happening. If you made
getting canceled.
one bad tweet, they're getting canceled and their company's getting boycotted. And that's not going to happen now. I guess the power shift of X being, right-leaning or this or that, it seems like it changed very fast. Obviously, it did change last time, too. Over the last 4 years, it was like our whole culture changed in 4 years.
Well, the tech sector really took the big swing. They're the ones that made the shift, and Silicon Valley followed with them because they're obviously heavily invested in the tech sector. And I think they look and see that there's more opportunity with him than there was with the other party. The other party was sort of dragging them down, dragging them through the mud, so to speak.
I think they were paying them.
Yeah, and it wasn't working out, and it wasn't working out in their favor. And they sit there and watch what Elon's doing, and sure, they weren't as pure to be there all the whole time. They just jump ship when it's convenient for them and leave the left, so to speak. But that's what they did. I mean, for what it's worth, I mean that's what Zuck's doing. That's what all of them are doing. Look, Bezos just changed the WAPO today. He just completely annihilated the opinion section, and everybody's up in arms over that media outlet now because it's going to be shifting, dramatically from the left.
So I think that all the media companies were secretly getting paid under the last admin. They're going to be getting paid publicly in the new one. If you see this huge deal that's going on with AI and the tech company and the tech sectors, the tech sector is brought up almost every day in the White House. Now it is more forward-facing, but they're still getting paid. Like, because remember when we were covering stories about how this platform lost billions of dollars, and everybody's like, how would they possibly do that? How would all of these companies, Twitter was losing money. How are all of these companies losing money? They weren't truly losing money. All the people that mattered, that made the decisions, I think they were getting personally paid. Like they were getting checks in their own pockets to basically destroy their companies, or at least to lose all that profit. People argue that X isn't making as much money as Twitter was, or this or that. If you actually look, X is actually making more profit for how much it's spending. Like they shrank the company down, but for how big it is, how much money they're making, all these stories don't talk about that. They talk about, oh, well, they're not making as much profit, or this or that, or their profit's down this much. But their profit compared to what they actually pay, because now they have shrunk their workforce by this much and they've shrunk their cost by this much, they are actually making a bigger percentage than they were before. They're basically cutting all of this unnecessary stuff out. So you take something like that and it's like they're making it look like all of these things are doing worse, but they're actually doing better. Those companies before, they were losing billions of dollars. The adpocalypses that happened with this platform and others, it was like when all of that was going down, they were booting people off left and right. And these people were the people that were making money for the platforms. All of these, like where you're at right now, they take half or 35% of almost everything. So if they have a creator, doesn't matter what their opinion is, if they're a successful creator, they take half of all of that. Anything that is given, anything that goes through, half of all ad revenue, all of that goes to the big guys, right? So it's like, why would you kick people off that were successful just because of their political views, unless you're getting paid somewhere else? You're not going to just cut a hole in your pocket and let money fall out. Somebody else was patching it up and sticking that money back in. So that's just my thought on it.
They did. They didn't get paid. They did lose. This platform's a publicly owned company, and it's all, the information is publicly out there. They took the loss. They took the loss because they were told they needed to. They said that was the future and where they were going, and they were betting on it. And that's what happened is they realized after 4 years of it, they didn't get anywhere. They're like, we've paid our price. Look at how much money we lost, or look at what happened to our stock values and everything. And we didn't get anything in return. It's not coming around.
That's what's being said.
But that's sort of what's happening. It's like, and it's not to say that they're standing on principles. They're standing on where do we want to go. They were sold a bill of goods, and they said, okay, well, we'll blow with the wind over here. Now that wind didn't work, so we're just going to blow with the wind over there. Believe me, they'll go back the other way if, the message comes around strong enough, then paints the correct picture that says, oh, you should be blowing over here on the left instead of on the right. They will shift. They're going to go where they think the future is for the outcome of their business. And yeah, they did take a hit, and I think that hit is what hurt them.
Yeah, but think about this. The board members of this one or anything, right? They say there's 25 people involved. They lost, like, what was a big number? Like, wasn't it $78 billion or something like that they lost here? Or it was more than that. It was a lot of money. It was billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, it was significant. It was significant enough to move the stock.
Okay.
And yeah, the board members would be, they're the ones sort of in control.
Yeah. So just say all of the people at the very top. The company lost $175 billion, but personally, each one of them on a side deal, hey, if you guys all go along with this, you're going to each get $50 million deposited in your bank. Do you think any one of them, if they're all in cahoots and they all go in a meeting, go, let's all just take the money? This is personal money sent to them in an offshore account that they have access to, or, here's this, and this. They will destroy that company and say, hey, in 4 years, we'll help you get back up again or whatever. I mean, this platform almost died during that.
It's possible, but ultimately what will happen is the shareholders will revolt. But, that can only live so long. In other words, they can only pull the wool over the shareholders for a few years, 4 years, 5 years, right? And that's kind of what happened. And, they can't survive as board members if they keep driving the company into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's just nuts. And then Taiwan detains China-linked cargo ship after undersea cable was disconnected. So another instance where you have these undersea cables disconnected. And what the timing of this, that's what's alarming. By the way, Callie, I want to thank you for right off the bat, and I'm sorry for being a little bit late on that. Callie, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. And again, thank you, Kenny Crowder. And then thank you, Stephen McMahon. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Says, off to work, remember, money talks. Yeah. Again, it's crazy what's happening right now. Randy Man, Briar Patch, thank you guys for responding. ACDC, power up. You're awesome, Stephen McMahon. Have a great day at work. Wiz Jen, thank you. And Kathy Piana, thank you, and thank you. Taiwan's Coast Guard said it detained a China-linked cargo ship on Wednesday after a nearby undersea cable to the Penghu Islands in the sensitive Taiwan Strait was disconnected. Taiwan, which China claims as its own territory, has repeatedly complained about gray zone, Chinese activities around the island designed to pressure it without direct confrontation, such as balloon overflights and sand dredging. That sand dredging, by the way, that's how they made the Spratly Islands. So that's kind of concerning to hear about too, and I think that there's going to be more stories about them creating islands in the very near future that aren't getting coverage yet. Taipei was alarmed after a Chinese-linked ship was suspected of damaging another cable earlier this year, prompting the INNA, what the hell is that? Oh, the Navy, sorry, and the other agencies to step up the efforts to protect the undersea cable communications links, which are vital to the island's connections to the rest of the world. Just as the U.S. connected to Europe, and these connections are extremely important. The Coast Guard said it was dispatched 3 vessels to detain the Chinese-crewed Hongtai 58, registered in Togo, which dropped anchor near the sea cable off the southwestern coast of Taiwan. This is not an accident. They purposely took that cable out. Now, the concerning part is the live fire drills that were the surprise live fire drills that are going on at the same exact time. All 8 crew members are Chinese nationals, and we do not rule out the possibility of the Chinese activity in the gray zone harassment. It says China's Taiwan Affairs Office did not immediately respond. Communications between Taiwan and other offshore islands, including Penghu, were not affected after services were redirected to other cables. A senior Taiwan official said, speaking anonymously because of the sensitivity of the issue, told Reuters that the government is handling the case as a national security matter. It says, quote, "It's beyond a normal range," the official said. Let's see here. "It's beyond a normal range," the official said, pointing to the course of the boat, which had lingered in the waters just southwest of Taiwan. Taiwan has reported 5 cases of sea cable malfunctions, and the malfunctions this year compared to 3 in 2024 and 3 in 2023. So this is obviously on purpose. They're testing, just like they have been. They keep testing and pushing the boundaries. At the same time, you of course have in very, very short succession, China launches surprise live fire invasion drills near the Taiwan island. So, Dex, as far as this goes, it's like you've got the underwater sea cable cut, and then this starts up. I mean, this is obvious. This is either practice, or these drills can hide the real thing. They could very well start the thing overnight, and we would not know until the morning.
That is the exact strategy that they've been doing for years now, normalizing the drills, normalizing the incursions, normalizing the flybys, coming across the boundary lines daily, multiple times, bigger, is surrounding the island. They do this over and over again so that they never know when it's the real thing, but this one was even more real because it was live fire. And it was, the military drill was conducted just a few miles off the island's coast near Kaohsiung and Pingtung, where Taiwan has naval and air bases. So Taiwan's military responded by sending sea, air, and land forces to monitor and alert and respond appropriately, according to the defense minister. So the move not only caused a high degree of danger to the safety of international flights and vessels at sea, but also blatant provocation to the regional security and stability, they said. So this one's a much bigger deal because of the live fire portion of it, because that kind of gets it into that, one step closer to, is this the real invasion? And it could very well be the dress rehearsal. And that's exactly what it was. I mean, it is the live fire invasion drill. It's the drill China's doing to say, okay, when we come invade you, it's going to look like this, or it may look like that, and they're testing Taiwan's defenses. They're testing their reaction. They're normalizing their presence.
Yeah, which they've done every single time. I mean, like, it's incredible how they continue to do the same strategy. And, of course, a lot of people don't even pick up on it. Most of all of you do. Let's see here. Thank you, Inquiring Minds. Per Pam Bondi today on Fox News, some of the flight logs will be released tomorrow. Yeah, but again, they said that some of the EpiPen stuff was being deleted. Or destroyed, whatever else. So I guess we'll see, I just feel like if it is really, really, really gruesome and messed up, that they probably have already destroyed it. And then Seeking Truth says, hope you're feeling better, Adam. Much love. Well, thank you again. And thank you, WizGen, for always shouting at everybody. Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, Seeking Truth, thank you. I appreciate that. And then Dale Jackson, thank you. Joshua Matthews, Seeking Truth. Let's see here. Rhiannon S. Hey, says, Adam, hope you're feeling better. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then Rochelle Cooley, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, and thank you. And then Retro Roman Doomsday and Simulation Channel. Nice to see you here again. Lots of really, really awesome people in the chat. Thank you. And let's see here. I saw a great comment, and I didn't want to miss it. Let's see here. Who was that? Oh, man, did I miss it? I wanted to get to that one. Let's see. Somebody said, I've seen more talented musicians. I've seen more talented musicians in front of Walmart. I think if you're talking about me, then yeah. And why would you be putting down the Walmart musicians? By the way, I don't think there's too many buskers in front of Walmart. But I come from a town with lots of buskers, and I guarantee you every last one of them is more talented than me. Again, those people probably claim to be somewhat talented. I don't. Rip Curl Readiness, what is going on? Ilea, what is happening? Thank you again for showing up. Zadizia, Rochelle Cooley, nice to see you. And let's see here. See Here Think, and so many more. So many great people here. Let's see here. Space Troll, Vinny Doom, thank you. Garrett, thank you. M. St. G, and so many. Obsidian Survival, nice to see some survival channels in here. All right. But yeah, so with all of this going on, it's obvious that something is on the horizon. Before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield. This is a super recommendation from us as far as if you do want to protect yourself against two of the most possible events, and one of them is probable, not possible. Again, this is an EMP shield. It will protect your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats against not only an EMP strike or multiple EMP strikes, but also a Carrington-level event from the sun, which, again, the solar event will happen. It's a matter of when, not if. If you want to go check these out, these are from the same company that's outfitting agencies like DHS and DOD, and of course on the Dempso team helping protect the Texas grid. This takes 10 minutes to put in your car, and you are going to get home to your family or get out to bug out. It makes a huge difference. You can also put them on your generators. If you think, oh, well, what if the power doesn't come back on? Then you still have your generators, and you can still run business as usual. And they even protect solar generators like the Energy or like the bug out grid downs. So again, grid down bug outs. So go check it out, marfoogle.com/EMP. Code MARF will get you $50 off per device, and that stacks on top of all of the sales. So make sure to utilize that. Of course, you'll be supporting independent media at the same time as getting yourself prepped for two of the most probable events out there. Again, if EMP strike does happen, they say 90% of us would perish, and that would be because of the infrastructure going down. If we were all protected, I don't think that would be much more of an issue. They're trying to harden our grid. Hopefully they do it quickly, but right now we are still incredibly vulnerable, and you should get yourself protected. People think that it's all going to be, peace and rainbows and ponies, and I don't think it is. And then, of course, Tarmac Panic. We just did a Marfoogle show on Marfoogle News about this, and honestly, it's getting to the point where it has to be something like either hacking or some sort of thing that we haven't seen before. I almost think that they are hacking in between planes and air traffic control, that they are somehow going in and being able to change live air messages from air traffic control to planes. I don't know how this would be possible. And again, it sounds like it's something that probably would be hard or impossible. But it almost seems like it is happening because there are so many incidents between air traffic control and planes right now. It's just seeming like it is on purpose. Maybe it is so that later Congress can use this against, Russia or something and say they've been hacking us or they've been doing this. And who knows, maybe it would not even be forward-facing. It won't even be public. And, backdoor meetings in the White House or the Pentagon, that's what they'll end up talking about. I don't know, but something is going on. Dex, with this, we'll show an image here. This plane was essentially going to come down, and what ended up happening with that?
Yeah, so the plane is literally landing, and as it's landing, wheels almost touching the ground, there is a private jet parked in front of it on the runway. And so it has to do what's called a go-around. And a go-around typically happens, it's not uncommon, further back. When you're coming in on approach, maybe you've missed your lineup for the runway and it just didn't work out right, they'll do a go-around. Or if, deer or something or happen to be walking on the runway, the tower will say, do a go-around, and they'll just swing back around and come in again. This had to be performed at the last second, like literally wheels are almost touching the ground. Let's, gun it and pull back up and do a go around because there's a plane literally right in the middle of the runway. So, how this happens, that's what they're investigating right now. There's, obviously it's they claim it's the private jet's fault because obviously the big plane had the right of way to land, but why was the private jet just parked and sitting in the middle of the runway? You know, Adam, look, the number of events that have happened, I got a short list here, and I don't even think this is all of them. January 29th, it sort of kicked it off, which it actually before then we had a military plane crash, an F-35, and another incident with the military plane. But January 29th, we had the helicopter in D.C. that hit the plane. January 31st, we had a plane crash, the medical plane crash into Philadelphia. February 5th, we had a Japanese air flight hit a parked Delta plane in Seattle SeaTac Airport. February 6th, a small commuter plane on its way to Nome crashed with 10 people on board. February 10th, Vince Neil, Motley Crue singer, his private jet collided into another plane. February 17th, a Delta plane crashed on the runway in Toronto that flipped over. We had two planes on February 19th at the Marana Airport in Arizona had a collision. We've had the other near misses with the planes being evacuated due to smoke. We've had planes returned back due to smoke in the cockpit. That wasn't the whole plane, just the cockpit. I don't remember the dates on those, but that's been in the last week or two. So, I mean, look, it's just the number of these happening all at once in the last month. I mean, it's been last 3 weeks we're talking about here. It's crazy. It's unimaginable. We've seen this much air incidences in this short period of time.
Yeah, it's very, very odd. Now, thank you, by the way, Callie. I appreciate that. Thank you for the sweet words there. As far as the plane incidents, if you have more expertise into this area, please let us know. We'd love to hear your opinion about it. And if you are an air traffic controller, especially, it's wild. We'll say, hey, if you're this or if you're that, it seems so wild that somebody's out there that is, but it's actually not. It's crazy. We mentioned some other obscure job, and we ended up having like 15 of them in our audience. It's just, if you have 2,000 people, there's a good chance, like just right now in the live chat, there's a good chance that there's somebody here that does it or is personally married to somebody or, brother or sister. So I'd love to get your opinion on all of these plane events. Is something like that possible? Let us know in the comments down below. Would love to hear from you. Rip Curl, thank you so much for being here. Ilea, thank you so much. Bobby Sue, thank you for this week. And then, of course, thank you, Inquiring Minds. Kenny Crowder, thank you. Callie, thank you. Seeking Truth, thank you. And Stephen McMahon, thank you. Thank you, everybody that's supporting, including Rochelle Cooley. I so much appreciated that. Thank you guys for supporting today. I believe Rochelle Cooley, number 1, number 2, Inquiring Minds, and Seeking Truth and Kenny Crowder are tied for number 3. Thank you guys for supporting today. Cannot say enough thank you for supporting us. Again, we don't ask for any donations, again, but we do thank you guys that do. It is much appreciated. As far as yesterday, thank you guys for being patient. Was not able to do a show yesterday, so thank you guys. We will see you tomorrow. As you guys know, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff as far as health related, so thank you guys. Appreciate it. And JPass, I wish I would have said that. She says, I don't want to hear about any backdoor meetings or go-arounds. I don't blame you, JPass. You got a chuckle out of me. My 13-year-old brain just went. So thank you. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Dex, thank you so much for your service today. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
And remember, you can also go over to marfooglenews.com/friends and find every one of our mods, including Rip Curl. Go over and check out Rip Curl and Ilea. And, of course, the wonderful Trinity Red or Blue Pill Hi-Ho Kermit the Frog here. Long name, but a very short reason to go follow her. She is digging deep into some of the craziest stuff. Wages World. I don't know if Wages popped in tonight, but Wages is covering all of the solar events, and he is such a great guy. He is always checking in on me. He's always checking on everybody. He cares about people. Almost everybody on this list does. So make sure to go check them out. Go subscribe. Very easy. marfooglenews.com/friends. Thank you guys. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marv out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. Special guest tonight, I have a Walmart musician here with me.
Down the hole we must go.
Just kidding. They're Costco.
Welcome you to the Marfoogle Show. Get not get right, let us know. Down the hole we must go. Follow us down the rabbit hole. Welcome you to the Marfoogle